Welcome to another episode, Middle Ground with JLE, LLC, where we treat you like family. That is the theme song, Detroit Love, off my first album, The JLE Experience. I own the music and the copyright, so don't mute nothing Facebook. I put that out there. Got another amazing guest. Give me a second to write off her Hall of Fame stats here.
We're just getting your speaking skills, right?
Yep. We had an author, public speaker, grief session facilitator, university professor, coach and trainer, business strategist, HR consultant, cause activator, nonprofit executive director, president, and co-founder of Susie Q's Kids, Dr. Mary Welsh, SPHR, SCP. Welcome to the show. I gotta put you out there right now.
There you go. You got it.
And I was looking at your bio like, okay, Hall of Fame, I got you. No problem. Make sure you do it right.
So welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you for doing it.
Yeah.
First question, what led you to this path?
What led me to the path? Well, I was fortunate. I'm married to a wonderful man. I have 6 children, and a few years ago, one of my daughters passed away, and my path changed. And so we're here today because we're honoring her life and helping other people at the same time.
Okay. Yeah. Now, what is Susie Q's Kids?
So Susie Q's Kids, we create comfort bags. So the kids all get a comfort bag. It's full of goodies. It's got coloring books and crayons and Uno cards and Mattel cards and things like that. Each of the kids gets this nice teddy, panda bear, awesome. Nice, soft and cuddly. And they always get a blanket that they can wrap up in. And so our comfort bags go to they go to other nonprofits first off. We further the mission of other nonprofits. And they go to kids that are in hospitals, shelters, foster care, autism centers, anywhere that the kid that needs a little bit of extra help or comfort. And they also go to kids that are in status of grieving at a grieving center. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I saw in the bag, one bag at a time. How'd you come up with that?
So, we wanted to start the story, my daughter passed away, and she always gave in life, and she always was very positive. So when she passed, how do you get that chasm of grief that engulfs you and everyone around you? And so her birthday was 2 months later, and she had a friend that was a foster kid when she was younger. And she always told me, and I always remember that, Mom, she only had a garbage bag with a couple of clothes in it. And it stuck with me. So when their birthday came around, I just told everybody, hey, come, and we're just going to put things together, and we're going to give them to Big Family in Michigan over in St. Clair Shores. It's they take care of foster kids. And so everybody went shopping. They took the kids and grandkids out and bought things for other children. And that day, it was such a healing thing. There was laughter. There was sharing. There was 3-year-olds and 90-year-olds. There were people that didn't know each other. And everybody was just on a common purpose to make another child smile. And at the end of the day, that's where Susie Q, that's the nugget that born Susie Q was born that day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what are the duties of a president and co-founder of a nonprofit?
Oh, I do everything.
I do everything.
It's everything,
Gotcha.
It's a family-run nonprofit. We're small. We just started out a few years ago. So, from marketing it to talking about it to making the bags, shopping for the bags, it's really a family centered thing. But we've gotten bigger. We've given away over 6,000 bags so far.
Wow. That's awesome.
We've encouraged and brightened and inspired the life of over 6,000 children and all the people that are attached to them. So we really depend on our volunteers to help us, to create the bags, to work different events with us, and help us share that mission. So I'm just the focal point that puts everybody in motion.
Okay. Well, a recent guest, Amy, says, "Good evening. What a beautiful story, Dr. Welsh."
Oh, thank you, Amy.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you are an author of the book Journey into the Looking Glass. What made you write that book?
Well, everything started, with when I lost my daughter. I went to therapy is a good thing. I went to therapy, and my therapist told me that I was unique and had to tell my story. And I laughed at her and said, "That's another word for I'm crazy, and I know it, because nothing's making sense." And she said, "You have to write the story." And I'm like, "I'm a broken woman. You want me to write my story?" And she said, "Yes."
Wow.
She said, "You're very unique." And I'm like, okay. I said, "Why do you say that?" She goes, "You brought your husband, your mother, your mother-in-law, your kids, your grandkids."
You brought the whole fam. Okay.
Every session, she said, there was always somebody new with you. And I said, "Well, if you want to know me, you got to know them. And they want to know what kind of thoughts you're putting in my head, because, don't mess with mama or grandma. That's not going to work, right?"
No, trust me.
So she really encouraged me to write my story, and it's my journey. It's how I handled grief. It's an adult book. It's this is my girl. This is my daughter. Where am I? This is my daughter, Susie.
There we go. Right.
She was just a cutie pie, but I wrote this book, and if you look closely, if I can get it right, this is her in the background. She was on the beach, and she had her hands outstretched, and she was just living life to the fullest. And that was what she did, right? And so it's only like 2 and 3 page chapters or segments or whatever you want to call them. It's just enough to read a little bit and maybe make you think about what that perspective is. And when she told me I should write it, because I looked at life more positive, she said, than other people. And she said, the cup is always more than half full. She said, I don't like it. I don't like to see the negative in things. And so I was always looking for the positive. And I realized, and I wove it through my books, that I feel that there's 4 aspects of positive reflection. And regardless of whatever that is, whatever it is you're grieving, you still kind of go through the process. You have to remember the good, bad, or indifferent about, I'll talk from a grief perspective, but it could be, losing a dog. It could be losing a job. It could be not being in school. Whatever it is your grief is about, what's the good, bad, or indifferent about it? If I told you my daughter was perfect, I'd be lying, because I can't say I was perfect, because that would be a lie, right? We're human.
Absolutely.
So the second one is really to reflect on what that impact was. And so what impact did I have on her, and what did she have on me? And she gave me a huge compliment in life. She said, "Mom, I want to grow up and be just like you." And I laughed at her. I said, "Oh, honey, you kind of look like me, but you're me to the 20th degree. You're in the hospital." She was in the hospital. She called and she said, "Mom, guy next door in the room next door, like, he came in the middle of the night and they cut all his clothes off. He's bare bottom, Mom. That's not dignity. That's not go shopping and bring him some clothes." And I'm like, okay, what does he look like? What, compared to your brother, what does he look like? About the same. I'm like, okay. So brought him jogging outfit, shoes, socks, underwear, everything to outfit him. And she's like, "Well, come on, I'll introduce you." And I said, "Oh, no. I'm just a conduit. This is your good deed, right? You don't need to embarrass. He might be embarrassed. You don't need to do that." So that's just the way she was. The third
Awesome.
piece is really we need to recreate our life. And so I always liken that we are authors of our own story. Every day we get to get up and we get to decide if we're going to have a good day or a bad day. If we're going to start out good, if something bad happens, how we can flip it back to good. And so really have that control over our life. And so what can we do to make sure that we keep that positive perspective? And then the fourth one is really 3 prongs. It's to relate. And one, you have to do self-care. You have to take care of yourself before you can help anybody else.
True.
The second one is you have to be able to help other people. Helping other people is good for your mental capacity, your physical capacity, and just outlook on life. It gives you a purpose. And then the third one is to give back in your community. So for me, when you ask me why I wrote a book, it was self-help for me. It was helping other people. And then my bag that goes to kids in the community is my give back in the community. So to me, they all relate.
Yeah, because my nephew was murdered this past April, and my homeboy called me at work not too long ago, and he was like, well, "How you been?" I'm like, "I'm cool. You know, I keep grinding, doing everything I'm doing, staying on the mission God got me to help people find their purpose, music and everything else." And like, but you help raise them, like you go like, yeah. I mean, there are times where if I hear a song he made that he sent me, I might cry for a minute or certain thoughts, but I'm kind of built. You still got to get to the destination. You got to help a lot of people. You all right. It sucks, but keep going. And it seems like you kind of got that vibe too to keep soldiering on.
So by helping other people, through your show, you're telling stories, you're helping other people to, to connect in life and maybe look at things a little different. And that's really what we have to do. We have to, find a different avenue to put that grief into, right? And so if we can put it into something positive, we don't make it better. Maybe we make it a little easier, but we certainly are able to help accommodate others and on their journey as well.
Yeah. Now, it was weird when I went to the studio 2 weeks ago to work on theme song for a few people's shows I'm tasked to work on. That's when I realized, oh, you ain't really worked on music because y'all was gonna work on your third album together. I'm like, oh wow. Oh, this is gonna be a little weird. It was weird for like maybe 2 minutes. Like, hey, be in your head, like, you better get in that booth and make it happen. Don't use me as a crutch. Come on now. Mm-hmm. And I was good, but I never acknowledged that's why I didn't get in the studio when I had time to use for a while. Kind of was like, wow, never paid attention to that.
So I actually ended up writing 4 books.
Oh, okay.
This is a journal, and it asks you 2 questions every day. And really, what did you do for yourself today? And what did you do for somebody else? And if you can answer those questions, you might find balance in your life. If you can't, then you need to pick up the phone and call somebody because you were too centered on yourself, or you were too centered on helping everybody else and you forgot to take a few minutes for yourself, and you need to go for a walk or get an iced tea or whatever it is that, will calm you, and it's just for you. This book here is here we go. My Special Angel, and that's my girl. She's an angel in the book. And what she does is she answers all the questions that my grandchildren asked. So I had five grandchildren, and they asked a lot of questions. So just on one page. So did you miss me? And then on this side, you have Angel Susie. And this page here talks about kids have to help around the house. They have to take care of their own animals, right? Well, Angel Susie is up here, and she's taking care of her own dogs, right? And they have little halos in it. And I had a family that grandma passed, and the mom had bought the books, and she said it really helped. And she said then their dog passed away a few months later, and she said he pulled the book out and he drew his dog where am I? He drew his
Wow.
dog over here, put a
Okay.
halo on, and said, "Hey, Mom, he's going to play with Hershey and Abby, and Angel Susie's going to take care of him. We don't need to worry about him." Shut the book and went outside and played. She said,
That's
"Now,
awesome.
I was a basket case," she said. But it call it a concept starter, something just to, start the dialogue for you with kids and how to, normalize it a little bit, make so that
Mhm.
they can comprehend it. So that goes in all my grief bags. And then I figured if I was helping kids,
Uh,
uh,
yep.
um,
Over here. There
yeah,
you go.
if I was helping kids with coloring, I was putting color books in in the bags. They
Okay.
still get Paw Patrol, but I figured I'd give them something that's a positive reflection and a good characteristic. So here, I can do it. Be positive,
Awesome. Yep.
right?
Right there. Yep.
So it just something that maybe it'll sink in a little bit if they're coloring it, right? I still give
Mhm.
them Paw Patrol, but so that's just my way of kind of connecting the dots from what I talk about to what we do with our bags. So our bags, we get kids together. We want to have kids helping kids. So we get them together. Sometimes they do bottle drives or whatever they want to do to collect money. But I have them help me put the bags together. And so
Okay.
it's the piece of philanthropy as well as volunteerism. So I want them to start early and realize that, they got it okay, right? And
Yeah.
somebody else has always got it a little rougher. And
That
so
is so true.
being able to help that makes a difference.
The fact you've done this is amazing because some people can't recover from a loss, and you turned into something of a vehicle to help a lot of other people, which is pretty cool.
Thank you.
Now, you got into public speaking. How that happen?
So I speak about the power of positivity. I speak about our mental health and well-being. This year we were named the Community Partner of the Year for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. We always staff the children's tents at the Out of the Darkness walks.
Okay.
I've spoken for the National Alliance on Mental Illness.
Mhm.
I've spoken on the national level at conferences for Bereaved Parents of USA and
Mhm.
Compassionate Friends. So anybody that needs an extra ear and needs to hear that they're okay, that they're normal, some of the experiences that they have are okay. It's okay not to be okay, right? It's really okay not to be okay. And so sometimes just being able to share some of those stories. I was in Northville today with a whole conglomerate of people, and we were talking about mental, physical, and emotional health and well-being.
Okay.
And so, they had all different instructors from different organizations there meeting in different classrooms with the students just to move the needle a little bit to raise maybe change
Mhm.
the stigma that's associated with, not being okay when it's okay to be okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you ain't okay. You ain't got to be a superhero all the time. You can
Hmm.
be normal, let it out, and deal with it.
Yeah.
Take it move forward.
So, um, and I'm also the president of the Sterling Heights Lions Club. So with that, I go out and I speak about Susie Q, and I speak about the Lions, and I coordinate with Kiwanis clubs, all different organizations, because they're all out there to do service in our community, and
Okay.
it's so important. So however I can move the needle to, raise awareness for a great nonprofit that's out there doing their work. Uh, when I dropped the bags off, the first set of bags that we made, I
Mhm.
took them. My husband said to buy 25 bags. Well, of
Okay.
course, I bought 50, and
Okay.
they were so full that it took two people to hold it together so a third person can zip them. So we had 50 full bags in our car, and we went to Big Family of Michigan, which is a foster care agency, and we dropped the bags off, and my husband walked in with 5 and I walked in with 5, And the executive director, God bless his soul, we lost him during COVID, but John was so excited. And he said, you are not going to help one child. He said, I'm going to take this bag and use it to open the door to communicate with other DHS offices so we can get our services in there so that we can help the kids in that community. He said, so you didn't help 50 kids. He said, you helped a lot more than 50 kids because you're helping us tell the story. And you know, as I thought about, you know, what we wanted to do, that's why, you know, our mission is kind of three-pronged. One is to give back in the community through furthering the mission of other nonprofits. They already have the kids in their programs, and so we don't have to go look for them. They're already been vetted. We already know they need help. We're engaging kids in that helping pack the bags or, you know, collect the items. And then, of course, we're helping brighten and inspire the children. So that day when we finished touring the Big Family Michigan facility, I told John, I said, hey, will you come out to the car for just a moment? And we popped the hatch and he saw the other 40 bags in the car. I thought he was going to have a heart attack. So he really helped us. You know, it really kind of sunk in that, you know, everything that you do can make an impact on somebody else. And so what I was thinking, we were going to help one child. I never thought about it helping the people that were helping to make the bags, as well as the organizations that were going to deliver the bags. You know, so it's a much bigger than just a teddy bear.
Absolutely.
Right? Oh, and they're so soft.
That's absolutely, because that is, I mean, and when you go on from the bio you showed me of all the different stuff kids deal with, whether bullying, foster home, mental health, suicide thoughts, abuse, and all that, they might not feel like no one care, and that big bag with all that stuff would be a distraction and let them know someone do care.
So I do, I'd go to businesses and we can do team engagement and I can talk and then we can culminate with the bag stuffing. And so I was at a corporation and I had nonprofits coming to pick the bags up from them so that they could see not only the bags being put together by them, but they could see the thankfulness of the nonprofits coming to pick them up. And one of the ladies came in and she texted me about 10 minutes before she got there. And she said, I really apologize, but I have my 3 grandchildren with me. And so I have to bring them. And I'm, well, that's okay. I love kids, right? The next sentence said, by the way, their younger brother passed away.
Oh.
Now I'm making bags for kids that are grieving. So of course, those kids were going to get my bags. And I always tell people, you know, however we can weave our story forward, we can make it easier on ourselves as well as other people. So sometimes when you talk to someone about a loss, the glaze comes over their eyes because they don't know what to say. They don't know how to act. And you know, truthfully, you and I didn't know how to do that either before we lost our children. It's not something that we comprehend, right? And so these little ones were there, and I said, you know what? Can you put your thumb up in the air? I want you to do it too for me, Jeffrey. Put your thumb up in the air. I want you to think about your son. I'm going to think about my nephew. Your nephew. Okay. So you're thinking about him, right? I'm thinking about Susie. Now, that picture, if you were to snap it, would show you, if you looked back on it, that he was there with you and he was present and you thought about him. And so I tell people, whenever you're taking a picture, just throw your thumb up in the air and say their name or say it quietly, whatever you want. But those 3 little girls were there. And I said, what's your brother's name? And they said, Tavion. And I said, can we put our thumbs up in the air and say his name? And all 3 of them went, Tavion.
That's awesome.
It could have been a really sad moment. But instead, they were there doing this and smiling. And then they talked a little bit about their brother, and then they asked how they could help. And they went in the other room and helped package the bags.
That's
So
awesome.
you start young, even though they were experiencing a loss, they got comfort from that. And I say, do that every time you take a picture, and you'll always they'll be in every silly selfie picture you take, trip to the zoo, birthday, graduation, wedding, whatever, it doesn't matter. If somebody puts their thumb up in the air, you can say, you were thinking about Susie. I told you she was here. She's always with me, right?
Yeah. I'm going to keep that in mind.
Yeah. So thumbs up.
It's awesome. Okay. You are a grief session facilitator. What does that entail?
So, when my daughter passed away, my husband found a group called Bereaved Parents of USA. And he said, we're going here. And so I said, all right, I'm walking around with blinders on. I don't know what's going on around me. And we went to the meeting, and I saw other people that were farther along, that were there to help other people on their journey. And I saw people that were just as raw and intense as I was in my grief. And it's been 5 years now. I'm a board member for that group. I help lead those sessions and do that. I've taken my bags to different groups, and New Hope Center for Grief Support is out in Northville. I went to drop the bags off, and the executive director said, oh my gosh, she says, you don't know what you're doing. And I'm like, really? I don't. And she said, you know what? She said, I have a young man that was 11 years old and died in his sleep. His mom and 2 brothers are coming in shortly. And I said, well, then the bags are for them. And she said, oh my goodness. She said, she called me and she said, it was so calming. She said they were antsy. They didn't know what to do. Mom was upset. Didn't know what to do. They pulled out the little teddy bear, the panda bear, and she said they were holding it. They pulled the crayons and the coloring book out, and they started coloring. One of them opened up the blanket and put it over his lap. She said, instantaneously, they calmed down. There was that sense of comfort. And they told me all about their program. So now I teach their program. I facilitate for people through their program. So I just, wherever there's a need, I try to fill it. That's my hope.
Yeah, you are doing a lot of awesome stuff. I had to have more questions. Just like you've done so much, somebody might want to go in that field and you know something about it. And I never heard of a cause activator. What is that?
So for me, I talk about those nonprofits, right? So I'm activating their cause. I am trying to bring awareness to their cause, to enrich their programs. So, I've learned about different forms of bullying and trafficking, all these different things that, it's a shame. It's a shame that happens. Right. And so what can we do to help? So I went to an advocacy agency out in Lapeer, and they basically, whenever a child comes in after a trauma, they have to tell the story to the police officer or whoever the person is. Then they have to tell it to a doctor or a nurse, and they'd have to do forensics, and they have to tell it. Well, these agencies now have all the people there, so the child only has to tell it one time. And so, so it lessens that trauma a little bit. And then, the people that need to be there are there, and they have a whole section set up for them. And then they have ongoing therapy for them as well. And as I was telling this therapist the story about my bags and whatnot, she started to cry. And I said, honey, what's going on? And she said, I'm picturing a child that's brought in here and just doing this because that's all they're going to be able to do. And she said, you have no idea how much comfort that might bring. And she said, so I'm just thankful that you're here. I'm thankful that you're here. I'm thankful that you thought of us and that our children are going to benefit from this. And, it's hard to even imagine what they're going through, those little kids, right? Young adults.
I mean, when I connect with you on Alignable, I would not know it'd be this great of a story being told. Like, wow, this is what she does. Okay, that was first name.
I'm going to be the Macomb County coach for Alignable. So I'm in the process right now of becoming an ambassador for them. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I forgot you are a university professor as well.
Yeah.
Was that the first thing you were doing?
So my doctorate is in executive leadership, and my daughter was in and out of the hospital a lot. So I did remote work before remote work was kind of a thing, because I always worked from hospital rooms. So I teach. I've got privileges at 7 different universities, so I pick and choose which courses I want to teach and where I want to teach, and it enables me to make sure that some of our leaders in the future have a little bit of empathy and tools that they need to be good leaders.
That's definitely needed. Well, this time of the show, go ahead and market all your stuff you got going on.
So, yep. So there's my bag. So anytime, well, there we go.
There you go. Right there.
Yeah. So if you would like to support our cause, those bags and blankets and bears, you can make a donation on the website that's scrolling on the bottom there, and those will be used to, any of your donations will be used to help put the bags in the hands of kids that need it. You can go on Amazon and you can look for the different books that we have. These are the children's books. So it's the Susie Q's Kids Positive Reflections, and one is My Special Angel, which is for grief. And then we also have Good Characteristics to Model, which is the coloring book. And then these are the 2 adult books. Journey into the Looking Glass, Finding Hope After the Loss of a Loved One. And it really is just about different techniques that you can use or different ideas to think about. To let you know that you're normal. We're not crazy. We think we are, and others may think we are, but you know what? It's okay. Because we probably are. And then this is the journal, and you don't need to buy the journal, but it's the 2 questions in it is really important. What did you do for yourself today, and what did you do to help somebody else? If you can answer those 2 questions, you can find balance in your life, which is so important. So I always tell people by 8:00 at night, if you haven't done something for yourself, then take a walk or do whatever it is, make a phone call, do something just for yourself. If you've nurtured yourself all day and you haven't helped the soul, well, then you need to call mom or grandma or neighbor or something, bake some cookies and take them next door, whatever it is. But brighten and make the day of another person, make their day a little bit better. By doing so, you make your own day better.
That's true. Yeah. And nonprofits we want to talk about that people know.
Yeah. So, Susie Q's Kids, we, it's really about what we can do to help another child. And so helping that nonprofit with their distribution of our bags, helping kids and collecting and creating the bags, and and then the bags themselves, just one bag at a time. It only takes one bag to make one child smile. I went to a conference one day and I wore the bag on the back of my shoulders, and I had this little bear sticking out of the top of the bag. So here, it's like right here like that. And I said, well, I know people are going to talk to me today, right? So it was a 3-day conference, and I was talking, and they finished, the first speaker finished, and I got up to use the restroom, and I got tap, tap, tap on my shoulder, and I turned around. There was a young couple there, and they were in distress. She was crying. I said, well, honey, what's going on? And she's like, are you the bag lady? And I went like, yeah, I guess I am. Never thought about it, but I am the bag lady, right? And she goes, I don't know you. I don't know anything about you, but that bag that you have showed up at my house, 2 of them. My son died in his sleep. And she said, and I have 2 young children, and they adopted this bear. She said, my daughter won't leave the house without the bear. And if she has to leave the house, grandma has to babysit the bear. And she said, you just don't realize how much it made a difference in my house. And she said, I can't tell you where it came from. I don't know. She's like, and I said, well, you go home and tell your daughter that you met the bag lady. And so she come back. She came back the next day, and she found me, and she's like, oh my goodness, I told her, and she was so excited. She was so excited. But I want to show you what happened when I got home. And she pulled out her phone, and on her phone was a picture of her daughter laying on her stomach on the front room floor with the bear sitting next to her, the bag next to her, and she was coloring in the book, and she had her brother's picture. She said, that's what you do. That's what you make normal for my daughter. And I said, oh no, you have to put your camera on video. And so I said, you have to show her this when you get home. So I told the thumbs up story, right?
Awesome.
And I told her she needed to put her thumbs up and say her brother's name, and whenever mom takes the camera out. So the next day, the 3rd day, this lady finds me again. And she said, I have to show you what happened.
Okay.
It was the most beautiful picture. That little girl was smiling from ear to ear, and she had both thumbs extended up in the air. And she said, you made my daughter happy. You made my daughter feel special. You comforted my daughter, not on one occasion, but on many occasions, because that bear goes everywhere. And I've had adult women and men come up to me and say, you know, that teddy bear is really important. And I said, oh, I like it. It's really soft. And I said, it connects with people. And they looked at me and they go, no, you don't understand. You're not a foster kid. I said, well, enlighten me. I always tell people to enlighten me. One woman said, I was in Dollar Tree, and I had 4 carts of stuff, and she asked if she could help me out to the car. She helped me out to the car, and she said, my story is, I was in, I forget, it was like 20 something different foster homes. And she said, the only constant I had was my teddy bear. And she said, it's ratty and tatty, and it's over 50 years old, and it's still on my counter in my bedroom on my dresser. That's the only family that I have, is that little teddy bear. So we never know what impact we're going to make. And so just by smiling and telling our story today, maybe I gave somebody somewhere the inspiration that, you know, today's going to be okay, because it's okay not to be okay.
Well, my teammate Gina says that's impressive. I agree. I'll tell anybody now, you're watching it live or replay, have your tissues, nigga, because some of these stories make you like, I'm trying to be tough. Like, we ain't doing it on camera. We ain't going to do it. I'm trying like, dang, man, that's kind of jacked up. A teddy bear only family? Like, man. Wow.
So I'll tell you a funny story. So I have this pin that I wear all the time.
Okay.
And I'm going to put it up. And so you might not be able to see it real good, but there's my mom and my daughter. Okay. And they're both angels, and they're always with me, and I wear this all the time. But I have what I call story starter beads. And these are just colorful beads. and each bead has a different story. And so if I was wearing it and you said something to me, it would be my story starter. I could tell about my daughter or my mom, whatever I wanted to do. So I'll tell you a story. This bead here always reminds me of my mom. This big red bead. She loved red. And if my mom was here in the room, she would have kicked me off the camera. She would have took over. She was larger than life. She always wanted to know everything that's going on about everybody. So she'd be that busybody in the room that'd be running around talking to people and laughing. That's just her style, right? Mm-hmm. You know, Jeffrey, I'm sorry to tell you, my mom, it didn't matter if she was 3, if you were 3 or 98, you were a man. So my mom was going to hit on you because that's just what my mom did. And you did exactly what I wanted you to do. I told a story about a woman that is so precious to me, but I made you laugh. Now, all these other beads maybe have a sad story to them or a private story, but this big bead here is the one that I always share. And so I call them story starters. You can make your own. You know, we have them on our website. You can get them on our website. But it's really about how to start that story. So a lot of times I tell that and they go, oh, no, I got one better. My mom did this, or my grandma or my auntie or whoever, would, and they tell a story back. And so it's a story starter, right? It normalized the conversation about our loved ones. And
now, Gina has a question. Can you get the bags on the website?
I don't sell the bags. I give the bags away to nonprofits. So
okay.
Yeah. So if you have a story, then you reach out to me on the website. My email is on the website. You reach out to me. Okay. A cougar mom. Yep. So my mom had surgery and it was sad. They nicked an artery. We almost lost her. When she came out of it, she was in her 90s at the time. When she came out of it, she thought she was 20 years old. She was surrounded by all 7 of her children and their spouses and their grandchildren. And she's looking at it going, who are you? Because she's 20 years old. She's never been married. She don't know any of us.
Oh, wow.
But she hit on my husband. Oh, you're kind of cute. And to this day, it's still a funny story, It took her a little while. She came back to her wits, and then we had to remind her, oh, you think my husband's cute.
Oh, man. So, are you on social media as well?
I am. Yep. Susie Q's Kids on Facebook. This weekend, we will be down at Belle Isle on Sunday. We are doing the breast cancer awareness event down there with the Susan G. Komen Foundation. And the money that we collect, we will be making bags and giving them to Gilda's Club for the children of the families that are going through breast cancer situations. Next Saturday, October the 8th, we will be in Ferndale at the American Foundation Suicide Prevention Out of the Darkness Walk. So if you're out and about in either of those areas, come by my tent and give me a high five and we'll do a thumbs up picture together.
Are you on LinkedIn as well?
I am. Yes. Yep. Dr. Mary Welsh.
Mary Welsh. Okay, I'm going to have to connect with you on there, and definitely any flyers you got, I will reshare it through my network, so get the word out more about what you're doing. And are you on Instagram?
No, I will say no.
All right, and I'll make sure to put that in when I friend you on there, you'll see when I put up the episode, all the information for people to reach out. I'll try to put in the description.
Perfect. I can send you a couple of flyers. You can put a couple links up for those as well. And that kind of gives a good overview of my books and where they can get those and the impact on them, as well as a lot about the mental capacity of well-being that we talk about in getting kids involved in making the bags.
Okay. Last few questions. What has been your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge. There's not enough time in the day. There's never enough time. um, my biggest challenge for when I lost my daughter, I folded my consulting business because I needed to work on myself, my own self-care, and determine how I wanted to help my family heal. So
Mhm.
that was good. Um, but the challenge right now is really looking for new ways to collaborate with businesses to sponsor our programs, as well as volunteers to help us operate our programs. So it's a double-edged sword, right? You can't do one without the other. So if you go on our website, um, you can look at, there's a volunteer page. There's a bunch of different ways that you can get connected with us and different ways to do different um, make blankets and scarves or collections,
Okay.
different ways to do that. And I always tell people that if you want to look for a way to honor uh, maybe a loved one, or it's your birthday or something like
Mhm.
that, you can think about doing a bag stuffing event, raise the money to create the bags. And then we get together and we put the bags together. And then you get the warm feeling about being able to give the bags to the other nonprofits. So, that a kid is going to, reach that in the end. So people are always looking for ways to help and give back and celebrate things. And so that's always an idea for individuals as well.
Okay. And what has been your impact, you think?
What is what?
What has been your impact on your journey?
Uh, my impact is I can make people smile even when they're not okay. I can make it the stories I told you about several children, today, knowing that I was able to make a child smile and feel that they were loved or comforted, in that time, in that space. Um,
Mhm.
that's my impact. That's my impact, is being able to make others feel okay when they're not okay.
Okay. And last question. What advice do you have for someone trying to find their purpose?
So what's important to you? What do you have a passion for? For me, um, part of the reason I started Susie Q's is she didn't have any children in life. She always wanted to have children. How can I tell her story? How can I talk about her? How can I honor her legacy? How can I give her a legacy? So that was my passion. It was my purpose, what I wanted to do, right? And so I always tell people, find out what really is that underlying feeling that you have
Mhm.
inside, and don't be afraid of it. It might take you on different roads and paths that you had never thought. Did I ever think I was going to write a book? Nope, not me. Did I ever think I was going to be doing public speaking? Not really, not me. You know, um, but you can come out of your comfort zone when you do. It's so enriching and so uplifting to know that you made another person smile, you made another person okay, you made another person just feel appreciated and loved because you listened. So I'll leave you with this. I had last year, I did 4 suicide awareness walks with the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. And they honored me in January as their community partner of the year. But after the walks were done, I got 4 texts and emails stating, "You saved my life."
Wow.
I don't know who they were. I talked to so many people and, I'm just there to help. I'm not really there to sell or anything. I'm just there to help, share my story and maybe make their day a little bit easier. If they make donations, that's wonderful. But that's my purpose for the day. But to have them reach out and tell me that, I know I made an impact. And maybe there were quite a few more maybe that didn't reach out but felt that way. And so you never know what just offering your ear to listen to somebody might do.
That's true. This has been an amazing story to hear. Wow. And a lot you have done, and over 6,000 kids so far has gotten a bag that probably changed the course of where they were going, because grief hit you in so many ways where you might be want to be a doctor, someone passed, and you go the wrong way to deal with it, and you restart your life years later. So them bags probably will, I think, keep them kids on the straight path of where they supposed to be.
How could they not smile, right? How could they not smile when they're holding a teddy bear, when they're wrapped up in a blanket, when they're just sitting there? My daughter was in the hospital many, many hours at a time, right? And so she understood the value of that teddy bear, of that lap blanket,
Mm-hmm.
and a coloring book. She would have the transporters, the cooks, the people that were delivering the food and the doing all the
Mm-hmm.
breathing stuff, and then all the people that came into her room, she never let them leave without coloring with her. Her walls were full of pictures.
Wow.
And I went back to the hospital 2 years after she had passed because I wanted to find one nurse. I wanted to tell her special thanks. And I was walking through the halls and people recognized me and came up and tell me, I have that picture I colored with your daughter hanging on my dining room wall. I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my goodness. And that's because she brightened and inspired the life of everybody in her life. And so that's my goal.
That's awesome. And my cat just go back to sleep. Hang on. All right. And Amy has, this is awesome. Dr. Welsh, such a beautiful cause will spread the word. It is important to tell our stories for our stories impact what we believe about ourselves. Thumbs up. That's pretty awesome.
I agree. Totally. Thumbs up.
Yeah, we're gonna
Thank
let
you for
everybody
sharing.
know. I know you on LinkedIn. We're gonna reach out. Get more people coming away to help and volunteer.
Yeah.
This is a great cause.
Thank you so much. I- it's inspiring. It's just inspiring to see the lives of the different people that you touch, in the way you least expect it sometimes. You just, I had I went to one of the walks last weekend that I was at,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a gentleman next to us, and he was a therapist, and he had a booth next to us, but his family was
Okay.
there, and they had lost someone. And he had talked to my husband, and my husband said, "Yeah, you need to go next door and talk to him. He could use your book and for the kids when in his practice." And I went over and I saw his two nephews,
Mm-hmm.
and they had just lost their dad. And they said, "Can you guys do this?" And they did. And I said, "When you did that, you smiled. You both smiled. It's beautiful. You smiled when you did that." I said, "Keep your fingers up, your thumbs up." And they, okay. I said, "So, what's your, dad's name?" And they told me. Every time I saw them after that, every time they walked past my booth or I was out walking around and I saw them,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I got. Both of them at the exact same time, both thumbs up in the air. And this gentleman come up to me, he said, "You have just changed the trajectory for those boys." And I said, "No, I didn't." He goes, "Yeah, you did." And I said, "No, I changed yours too, because you're going to put your thumbs up and now you're going to think about them too when you look back at the pictures." And he goes, "You know, you're right." And I said, "There you go. I changed all of your lives."
That's pretty awesome, man. For real. All this wonderful story tell you might need some tissue near you. You're gonna laugh. You might. I'm on camera, so I ain't doing it. But you might be at home listening, like, dang, you have a memory, but it's a good memory though. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
I always tell people, make sure you have a list of people that you can call, because that rabbit hole of despair that's sitting next to your feet, is one that you can always go into when you're having that bad day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have that list, you just call, and it's the safe people that you want to talk to. And I prefaced my sisters and said, hey, and my sister-in-law, if I call and say, just talk, make me laugh. Tell me a story that's going to make me laugh. And one day I was having a rough day, and I dialed, and I hang up if nobody answered, and I dialed the next person on the list. Well, I called my sister-in-law, but my brother answered. And I said, just talk. And he's like, well, did you take your medicine today? Did you see the doctor? I said, just talk to me. Tell me a story. And finally it clicked. And he told me a story, and he had me belly laughing at the end of the story. He called me later, and he said, you can call me anytime. And I said, that belly laugh, that story that you did kept me from going down in that rabbit hole. That could have kept me for, an hour a day or whatever a week. I don't know, because it grabs a hold of you. It doesn't want to let go.
Yeah,
So always have that safe word, that safe person that you can call, and just tell them to tell you a funny story. Laughter is so healing, just so healing. So
that is so true.
He walked into the door wall one day with a whole plate of food, and it went up and down. And he looked around to see if anybody was listening or looking, right? And there was my little Susie with a thing on her head. She wasn't feeling good. She's laying on the couch, and she is belly laughing like crazy because Uncle Jim's got this food all up and down his body, and he's looking to see if anybody noticed.
Oh no. That's awesome.
Brought me back to a funny time, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, all the different stuff you've done is gonna help someone if they want to go to those fields. Anybody want to volunteer or donate to her cause, the website's there. I'll put more information under the description once I post the show. It's a great cause because kids today are dealing with a lot compared to back in the day. And to get that teddy bear, the coloring books, and the thumbs up to think about the person, that helped them.
And even crazy grandma.
Even crazy grandma. Even crazy grandma. Hitting on everybody.
See, laughter is a good thing.
Absolutely. It really is. So I definitely want to get your Hall of Fame credits. Author, public speaker, grief session facilitator, university professor, coach, and trainer, business strategist, HR consultant, nonprofit executive director, president, course activator, and co-founder of Susie Q's Kids nonprofit, Dr. Mary Welsh, SPHR, SCP. Appreciate you being on the show. Hope I made you feel comfortable to share your story to help others. I had a great time doing it.
Yeah. So we shared a little sadness, and we shared a lot of laughter. It's a good day.
Oh yeah, a lot of laughter.
God bless your nephew. God bless my daughter. They're up
Absolutely.
there. They're with us always. They're always.
Yeah, they laughing right now. Like that's a crazy.
Oh yeah. I think that they're marionette. They're just move people around so we meet the certain people we need to meet. So yeah, we aligned on alignable, and I have to feel that sometimes they were up there going like, "Hey, move over."
Yeah, because I saw the name. Like maybe she'd be a good guest. What's the story? What's a Susie Q? I thought about the hostess product. To be honest, like she's selling candy for kids.
Right along with the ding dongs, right?
I straight thought about that. Like, they still make that. And then I start reading like, oh wow, this is what she does. Okay. Well, ain't the Susie Q I thought about then. But I ain't
there you go. That's the bag right there. That's what we use to make kids smile. And
that's a big bag.
That's a big bag. And then, we put like this is a plastic bag. It's got like Rubik's Cube and a ball,
wow.
and pop it watch in it, and it's got a spinner in it. And then they also get hygiene bags. So they get a full bottle of shampoo and toothpaste and soap,
that's awesome too.
tissues and all the, everything you need. If you're taken out of your home or you're not, if you're homeless, you definitely need, those items. These ones, they go really good in our autistic bags because we want to do something that's sensory activated for the kids.
Yeah, I remember that Rubik's Cube as a kid. It took me a long time to get all the colors on each side. Literally a whole day. Like, I'm going to do it. I can do it. I'm smart enough. And I was super prepared. Like, I'm not be denied.
I have one picture. I have a lot of the pictures that Susie colored, but one Labor Day we got hall passes and we were able to go outside in the fresh air and sit at a picnic table and eat and color. And so we did that. And she had a hip hop coloring book that her sister had got.
Okay.
Well, I got Eminem to color.
Nice.
And I colored inside the lines, the whole 9 yards. I got all done and she looked at me and she goes, "Oh my God, he would never, ever look like that, Mom." And that is the best picture of Eminem I have ever seen in my entire life. So it's a classic. It's hanging in my room, but hey, it made the day special. And she posted about it and how much she enjoyed that day. And, just sometimes we get really busy in our own lives. And we need to take a moment and remember that there's someone in a nursing home, or there's someone in the hospital, or there's someone down the street that doesn't have a lot of people around them. And when you stop in and just stand on the porch and say, "Hey," and talk for a minute, means all the world to that person. It might have just took them out of that rabbit hole of despair down there at their feet and made them laugh, made them smile. So always do something for someone else every day. It makes you feel good.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Well, thank you for being on the show. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Yeah.
We played this awesome outro that I created. Yes, I'm doing it. Yes, I'm doing it.
Very good.
Until next time, everybody.
All right.